We are also very new to AI, it's fair to say. We've used it a lot in the last few weeks, and we've found out what it can and can't do. You did a really funny experiment with Lucy where you asked it to create a picture of a hand holding a bottle, didn't you? Or a glass. And it didn't have an arm attached to the hand, is that right?
No, it did. No, it just held the bottle the wrong way, so it was pouring it the wrong way.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
How do you pour a bottle the wrong way? Upside down?
Upside down. Yeah.
That was quite funny, really. You should have taken a screenshot of it. That's actually good.
Yeah, you'll probably find it. It's just, I think the reason why we wanted to do a webinar on AI is for all the information we've tried to find on it for the last 6 months, 12 months, whatever it's been, or even the industry information on AI seems very either complicated or futuristic based, or
you got to buy stuff.
Yeah, or funnels that link this to this to this to this to this, and there's no simple. Doesn't seem any sort of low level simple clarity, and to say just use this to do this, and that's the reason why I wanted to do this webinar, and yeah, we use it quite a lot at the moment for different things, and we'll go through this and hopefully share with you how to do that.
So we've got a good, you weren't here the other day, but we've got a good client and friend, Michael, and he is at the moment trying to restructure his business so he can get an MD in and not work in this business as much, the dream, right? Because it's a really good, profitable business, but he is running it a little bit, but not quite. And so he said, I need an action plan to be able to action before I get, well, actually I said before you get the MD in, but he said before he leaves the MD to it. So we asked Perplexity, which is my favorite AI, and we just said, how do we need to structure a business in order to get an MD in? And we gave it all the different context. What kind of jobs would an MD do? Write me a job description for an MD, write me an advert for an MD. Now tell me what the MD needs to do in the first 100 days and what do I need to do to support that person? Mm-hmm. It was absolutely fascinating. And he ended up with a 12-point action plan over about 5 pages that he's now working through. How long would it have taken us to do that? A day? 2 days?
Yeah, and all that information that it's collated is available on the web, on the internet somewhere. But what it's done is it's very quickly gone out there, found it, amalgamated it, and put it into a list form, which would take hours, days.
So I'm writing a bit of my book at the moment, and based on something called the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. If you heard of that, it's based on the 5 love languages. And I asked it to summarize the book in 2 sentences, and then to give me an example of each of the 5 languages of appreciation. And where it went to on the web are sources I wouldn't have been able to find by myself. And you only get to page 1, don't you, of Google, maybe page 2. But it's not. It's delving Google really, really deeply for all these searches. I think it's fascinating. It's actually not Google, is it? It's Bing it's using.
Right.
Don't know why it doesn't use Google. Anyway, so do you have a question about AI that we can help you to answer, or maybe find out the answer for you? I use AI on a daily basis, says Gillian, for text usually, but it would be good to know how other people's take on it, and if there are any other good tools out there that could save me even more time. Good question, Gillian. Thank you. Stephen says, I have no idea how AI will help our industry, so any points will be welcome. FYI, my company mainly deals with commercials. I'm sure there'll be similarities with the resi market. I completely agree with you there as well, Stephen. Right, well, let's dive in. So the first thing to say is AI is here to stay. Whatever you think of AI right now, it's only going to get better from this point, and more invasive, really, isn't it? So better and worse.
Yeah. Think of the last 30 years as being a few new pieces of technology that come in that always have the doubters that change how business runs. So going back, well, I know it's going back a long time, but when actually the internet was accessible to most households was late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s, yeah.
And then there was...
my first business I didn't have a website for.
Yeah, and then there was social media, and then there was smartphones, and AI is probably the biggest since internet of how it will change things.
What AI does is harness the internet. Because at the moment, we're expected to do our own research on the internet, aren't we? So we've got all this information accessible, but we don't really know how to, there's too much. We don't really know how to hierarchy it, prioritize it, make sure we're getting the right information from the right sources. We're trusting, aren't we? So to give you an example, I've just bought a camper van. I don't know if you've seen my Insta, and really, really pleased with it. And the first thing I wanted to know was, what do I need to kit out my camper van with? So there's lots of places I could go for that. Camping Caravanning Club. I could just put a Google search in and see if somebody's written one. But actually, I just gave it to AI to do, because I trust AI more, because I feel like it's a composite of all the information that I could then spend hours finding myself.
Yeah, we've been using AI for years, really, on things like Alexa. But the biggest thing that's going to change in the short term is search. People will no longer, I'm sure Google have got an answer to this, but will no longer go to Google. They'll go to an AI specific site and ask a detailed question to find a better answer. I was in Romania this weekend, and I was in an Uber, and we had a Romanian radio station on, and obviously my Romanian is not particularly fluent at all. I couldn't tell you one word. But one word that did stand out was ChatGPT. So even on Romanian radio, it's what they're talking about. So it's, I'll just say it's coming. It's not even coming. It's here. And over the next 10 years, it will infiltrate your business a lot, and also infiltrate how your clients choose an agency, which is why it's critical. You can probably carry on working how you work without AI, and it might not be the fastest or the best way of working, but it's the consumer that's the important thing, and it's the consumer attention that's going towards AI, which is where your changes will need to be made.
Yes. And Stephen, you're asking about, you're not sure how to use AI in our industry. So one example is, I was talking to Hannah, who's our head of client experience, and she's just got a complaint in this morning about a sale compressor we're no longer using. And it's a really long complaint. So Hannah's just sat there with this massive document. But if she puts it through, Perplexity is my favourite, and asks Perplexity to summarize it and then recommend a response based on our complaint guidelines, it'll save her so much time. She might not be able to use that as a finished document, but it just shortcuts, doesn't it? It's like having an EA, an executive assistant, to do that for her. Come back and say, look, these are the main points. This is what we need to do about it.
Yeah, and where it'll go in the next 5 years is you'll be able to upload all your procedures, and it'll, without you won't even have to ask it, it'll just automatically take some information that comes in, whether it's a viewing request, a val request, a complaint, and it will use your processes and procedures, which is why it's critical to have those documents as well. And it will kick out a response, and it will even probably send it for you if that's how you wish to close a circle.
So this is what we're going to go through with you. Which tasks you can use AI for, and actually which you can't, which need a human. And, that's going to be changing in the future, isn't it? We might look back at this in 5 years and go, well, actually, you can use AI for that now. Which free AI tools to use in your business, which ones we do, how your team members can use AI, how to create prompts, which is really important. This is at the center of everything you're going to be doing. It's all about prompt engineering, it's called, to give you the results you want, and how to get your website found by AI, which is what we're just talking about where these AIs are getting the information from, and anything else that you want to know. So.
Yeah, and as I said at the start, the purpose for us is to give you something tangible and simple to take away if you haven't already delved into the world of AI, rather than trying to give you some really complicated system that you need to plug in.
So you probably already know we run a mastermind here for estate agents called the AJ Mastermind. And we also run something called Cosmo, which we're going to tell you about a bit later on in this webinar, which is much more of an off-the-shelf. Both of these include, both our kind of services to agents include training on things like AI, training, prompts, templates, all these things that you need so you don't have to do it yourself. So let's start off with which tasks you can use AI for and which actually need a human. So there's some AI tasks that are pretty easy. Automating administrative tasks, really simple, basic admin. Social media marketing, SEO, which is search engine optimization, which we're going to talk more about. How to nurture a lead, so to come up with a lead nurturing journey, whether that's offline, online, or a combination of both. How to manage an inquiry, so when this email comes in of this type with these keywords, this is what to do with it. market analysis, which we use it for a lot, and financial reporting. So this is where you get the information from to your AI agent, and this is how we want it reporting to us. So it's going to just cut out so much of the legwork, which means you can do so much of the things that you do better. In fact, if you look at this list of human tasks, if you can get rid of the yellow list, you can do the orange list so much better. So things like viewings are so much easier if AI has put together your viewing notes for you.
Yeah, and there are some things on this list as well, the human tasks, where depending on the type of agency you are, so for example, where the online agency is likely to go in the future is the offer negotiation would just be done through an online AI agent, a bot, if you like, and they would be trained, or the AI agent would be trained to have no emotion and it'll be a factual. If they offer this percentage, this is the script you use. If they say this, and it'll probably, if the consumer doesn't realize it's a bot or an AI agent, it'll probably get a higher percentage than most humans.
Well, I suppose if you gave AI a poker deck, could you say the same thing? If you had rules for AI to play against you?
Well, it does it on chess, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and
chess win. The AI wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe even if you look back sort of 5-10 years, if Purple Bricks had this earlier, maybe they would have done a better job, because that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to automate everything, but they couldn't AI it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an intelligent automation. That was the problem with it. So top free AI tools, 5 of them to use in your business. And what I'm going to just share with you isn't necessarily our recommendations, but what are the top 5 by user popularity this year? So first of all is ChatGPT. It's the one that everybody's probably heard of. It's the most widely used. It's probably got the most features built into it. It's got the most different variations of it. And it's used globally. Text generation, coding, processing, everything you can possibly think of. There's a free version available. There's a plus plan at $20 a month and the pro plan at $200 a month. This is what it looks like on your phone. You probably already have it. If you haven't downloaded the app, download the app, because that's the best place to do it. It does have limitations. I think you can only do 5 deep searches a day. I think it's probably the most likely to do something we call hallucinating, which is to make answers up. And we have known it do this, where it doesn't know the answer, so it'll just create an answer, which is not true. So one of the things you can say in your prompt is do not hallucinate, and that reduces the risk of it hallucinating. Yeah,
it's important you treat it like a child. So you have to be very accurate in what you ask for. And if the answer it gives, which is quite common, isn't exactly what you've asked for, you almost have to tell it off and say, go back to the question and answer exactly what I've asked for. And it should give you a better response. It's still learning how humans want their answers. And it answers in a similar fashion to how Google would when you make a typo and it gives you what it thinks you want it to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes it guesses and it guesses wrong.
Sometimes it guesses, yeah. It's not great for image. It quite often says image generation is busy right now, and 3 days later it'll still be trying to do it. So
you experimented with Midjourney, didn't you? Which is a better image creation tool. Google Gemini, multimodal. In other words, it's every kind of AI you can think of for text, images, and audio. Native for Android, and otherwise it's an app. So if you've got a Google phone, you'll see that it is already on there. And I've noticed as well that certain apps that you use have a Gemini at the top, asking if you want to use Gemini for it. In fact, if you ask your iPhone Siri a question, it will say, do you want me to use ChatGPT for this, won't it? So you can see affiliations now and partnerships coming in, and a lot of the really big companies like Amazon, or what are the big 4? Amazon, Google, Apple, and Facebook. Yeah, they're all using AI, and they're all heavily invested in their own AI and also other people's AI as well. So the free version available, and then you get tokens for that. So it's a bit more complicated. You know, when you used to, you probably don't remember this, when you got a mobile phone in the very early days, you were charged based on the number of phone calls you made. Like you got minutes.
Of course, I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a long time ago.
10p a text.
Yeah. And I just think that kind of usage data thing, I think that'll disappear. I think what you'll do is you'll buy a package.
And it was like 350 characters, so you have to fill them.
That's right. Otherwise, it went to 2 texts, charge you 5 pence a text.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that.
So I think it will change. Grammarly. Now, you've probably been using Grammarly. You didn't even realize it was an AI, but it is actually an AI. It's probably one of the earliest AIs that everybody was using without realizing, same as Alexa.
Yeah, I think you've got to be careful with some products, and there are some industry products I've noticed as well, that are just putting AI on the end of their product when it was always a form of AI, I guess, but it doesn't mean it's a new product just because it's got the letters AI after it.
No.
So, and Grammarly's sort of one of these where it's always been able to tell you what mistakes you've made. I guess this will maybe be able to rewrite it for you. But it's not a major difference, is it?
No, but a lot of people that are listening to this might never have heard of it. So
Grammarly.
Yeah, Grammarly. So I would say it's an install it on your desktop as a what do you call it? Plugin.
An extension. Yeah, I think all your team should have this on.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
everybody should have it in the office. It's free. The free version is absolutely fine. You do not need Grammarly Pro, and you just need to install it on each desktop and on each phone actually, and it instantly suggests better ways of saying that particular thing. I don't actually know what you get with Grammarly Pro, but you don't need it. I'll tell you that now.
No, because if you do need, so if you're not very good at writing copy, for different scenarios, it could be a
social post, couldn't it?
Your social post could be an email to a client. It could, whatever it may be. Just write it how you write it and plug it back into ChatGPT, and you can say, "Look, I want this written in this certain style," and it'll chuck out a better written.
Well, suppose you've got Word, haven't you? When you write something and it tells you you've written it wrong, but then the next level up is Grammarly, because if you put an actual word in but it's in the wrong place in the sentence, Grammarly will tell you that. And then next up you've got the AIs that you would plug it back into for get better readability.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Canva Magic. So we're just playing with this at the moment. We're Canva Pro users at $10.99 a month. In fact, I actually think we pay £99 a year. And that gives us access to all of the Canva Studio, which has got about 5 different things in it. But it is now going to be the leading tool for AI-powered graphic design. We did trial it on something on Friday, and it wasn't particularly good. It didn't let us make edits afterwards. So it's in its very early stages, but it's definitely worth a look in.
Yep.
And then number 5?
Yeah, it's Midjourney. So we actually pay for Midjourney. It's $10 a month. I would say it's really good at creating images. So you can say, let's say you're making a marketing brochure for your agency, and you didn't want to use any specific houses in case clients complain or whatever it may be. You could say to it, look, I want a traditional Lake District house which overlooks Windermere, that has a modern interior, and I want it at twilight with all the lights on. Or you've got to be very specific and of exactly what you want. If you want people in it, you need to say the gender, the hair color, the skin color, the shirt color, what they do as a job, etc. And it will create you 3 options. What it's not good at, or we haven't found a way to make it better at, is then editing the picture afterwards. So let's say it'll give you 3 options of Lake District houses. You can give it, you can ask it to enhance it, or you can ask it to tweak it. I can't remember the exact words. So you can't edit it and then write in, no, I want you to do this. You can only ask it to make another version of what you've asked it.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
So then you need to go back and do again. I think for $10, I think you get 200 a month, 200 images or searches.
It's not bad, is it?
No.
But then I suppose one search you could have to refine 10 times.
Yes. Yeah. So it's really critical. So what we're doing at the moment is making sure that our prompts, and we're going to come into that, our prompts are as accurate as possible first time to make sure we don't have to go and search them. But yeah, we're using them for what's the image version of B-roll?
Stock images.
Yeah.
Library images.
Yeah, we're using it for library of images for things like our client handbook and our if we did a direct mail letter around 5 tips to sell in September, for example, and we did things about tidying up the garden with leaves, then we would use Midjourney to create that image.
But if you're a Cosmo client, or you think about being, we have a library of images. There are actual images that Ashdown Jones have taken, Ashdown Jones photographers, over the last 8 years, that are internals, non-specific houses that we include as part of the Cosmo package. So if you didn't want to have to spend $10 a month on something like Midjourney and learn how to use it, then that's your alternative, really.
Yeah, and we'll be uploading the images we get through it as well.
So where should you start with AI, which is what kind of Pat has just said, really? What's the best way of getting started? What tasks should you give it? Well, brainstorming is a really good idea. I think that AI is really good at brainstorming and finding things that you wouldn't have thought of. And then you can actually delve into each one of those answers and ask it to brainstorm again. Planning, so creating itineraries and project plans. And I think I've said this on another recording, is that when we were going to London to watch Liam in the marathon, we asked Perplexity to come up with an itinerary for where we should stand that wasn't too busy. We had 2 pushchairs with us, 4 adults, 2 kids. What's the best place to see our runner that's looking for a 4-hour time? And it just worked it all out. I mean, us trying to do that with only the internet at our disposal probably would have been almost impossible. But to be able to do it through something like this was really, really useful to us. Systemization, so create processes for your business and generating templates. So you can ask it to create a template for anything in your business. You could ask it to create a template for a photo shoot. And you could even say, these are the things that we've got wrong in the past. How to make sure that this happens? What checklist would you use? Research, competitor analysis, market trends, best practices. So you can ask it to go and research all your competitors' websites. You can ask it to, I don't think it can do deep research like how many properties has every single other agent got on the market in this particular area. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it will be. It will be there.
Yeah.
Marketing, creating social captions. It's not brilliant at creating social captions, but it'll start. So
I think it is quite good at.
Okay.
Actually, I think it all depends on your prompt. So if you have a company or a person in mind that you like their style, you can ask it to create in a style of this person. I think it does quite a good job.
So if I ask it to do a Sam Ashdown prompt, I say, you are Sam Ashdown first.
Yeah. Or at the end, in the style of Sam Ashdown.
Yes. And what I also do as a little trick for your prompt, I don't think I've got it in one of these sides, is to say, remove any AI telltale signs.
Yeah, can it do that?
Yeah, it can't. I don't think it can remove the watermarks, which we can talk about. These micro marks.
Yeah,
but it can. So it won't do lots of exclamation marks. It won't do
the double hyphen.
It's called something, that isn't it? Double hyphen. It's actually called something. Somebody will tell us.
Yeah, if you're looking through socials and you see a post that has a elongated hyphen, then the chances are that is AI.
M dash. EM dash M dash. That's right. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And what I did the other day was I asked it to create a paragraph for me on something specific. Then I put it back through AI and said, does this sound like it's AI? Remove all the AI of it. And it did. And it actually made recommendations for what that would look like. Writing, summarizing data, ideation, so come up with ideas, checking spelling and grammar. That's pretty simple, really. How to create prompts that give you the results you want. So first of all, what is a prompt? How would you understand a prompt? It's just the instruction you give to an AI to get it to do something. It's no different from an instruction or a task. It's something you're going to ask the AI to do that you would usually ask a team member to do.
It is absolutely critical that the quality of the prompt has a direct correlation with the quality of the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are thinking AI is giving you rubbish answers, your prompt is rubbish.
Mm-hmm. It's a bit like every problem is a leadership problem. Every AI problem is a prompt problem. So write text, do research, or create an image. That's the actual prompt. It's how you tell the AI what you want it to do. It's the words you use. And very often my prompt is longer than the output, which is the thing that it gives me. Because the longer my prompt, the more I'm likely to save it and make sure it's in our prompt library, because I know it works. And then AI will come up with a short version. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but these are the main components. I asked it to make a word from it, but it was a bit rubbish, so I didn't do it in the end. So role, task, context, input, output, do's and don'ts, examples. So go on.
Yeah, and also I think you got on there how you want it to be delivered. So do you want it to be a list? Do you want it to be, is it on there?
Output.
All right. Go on.
So the role is to choose an agent. So how do you understand that about choosing an agent?
So if you think of it as a big warehouse with
a people warehouse.
With 10,000 people sat at desks, and those people have little badges on their desks saying estate agent, saying solicitor, saying expert in
cooking,
in expert in parenting, at getting your kids to sleep, whatever that. As niche as you can think, there is an agent out there with that on the desk. So the first thing you need to do is ask AI which agent you would like to complete that work. So you are an expert in getting children to sleep.
Yeah, and if you want to try something funny, ask something like a mechanic agent to do a job that's like an artist job, because it will have a different output than if you asked it to be the person you want it to be, an artist. So, for example, to choose the agent, which is kind of like the hat it's wearing, you are an experienced and expert copywriter specializing in luxury real estate, would be a really good way of asking it to write a property description. If you said you are a mechanic specializing in luxury cars, you're going to get completely different answers. So it's very important that you assign the agent and you don't expect AI to do that work for you. In future, you probably won't need to assign an agent, or you'll have your own agents. Yeah, you just
have your own
agents. Yeah. The task tells AI what to do. So write a detailed 500-word brochure description for a home. That is the nuts and bolts of the instruction you're giving it. Then you need to add context. So there's a background information. The copy needs to attract a buyer to view, as well as to represent Ashdown Jones as a luxury brand for unique homes. So I've been very specific there with background information, the context it needs to know. The input is what I give the AI in order to be able to go and extract this data. And to write what I want it to write. So I've given it the house name, Rose Cottage, Windermere, and the postcode. And we've done this quite a few times now, where it knows the house. It will find the information that's already available on the internet about that house. If it doesn't know the house, just be careful it's not hallucinating.
Yeah, you can also give it photographs, floor plan,
a previous description, maybe
a previous description of a home you've put to market. Anything that will help it keep your tonality and understand exactly what it needs to do.
We were talking about output before. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, then to be very clear on exactly how you want the answer to be presented. So, is it on a spreadsheet? Is it in bullet points, in a list, in 5 paragraphs, 10 paragraphs? Be very clear. Otherwise, it will just choose a method of delivery and give it to you.
So on this particular occasion, we've put structure the copy as a narrative, not as a bulleted list, because it loves bulleted lists, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And ensure it's suitable for use in a luxury property brochure. Do's and don'ts, though, this is how to guide your AI agent. So use evocative, sophisticated language is one guide. Avoid, so that's a do, and then the don't is avoid cliches and typical AI vocabulary.
Yeah, and also American spellings and
yes. Examples, so show example styles. So look at Ashdown Jones, for example, of the style and tone. And that is a really good prompt. If you have that prompt on the right side there as a saved prompt, you might need to make a couple of little tweaks for your particular agency, but that would give you a really good 500-word brochure description.
Yeah, especially if you are going to do this for property descriptions, which is a pretty obvious place to start, I think. Then having the same prompt for each property, so saving it somewhere and just tweaking, obviously the address, etc., and how many bedrooms and some property details. It will produce the same style and tonality and quality every time.
Now, it's important to remember or to know that some of the AIs, like Perplexity, which is my favorite one, don't remember anything like a bit, but ChatGPT trains on your answers.
Yeah, so if you've got an account.
If you've got, if you've got an account, sorry. And that's about $10 a month, wasn't it, I think?
You don't need to pay for an account.
Oh, right. So not
trying to log in.
Just right. So make sure, yes, exactly. So what Michael was telling us the other day, Michael Mortimer was saying that he always tells in part of his prompt, he says, remember the answer. Remember me, I'm Michael. In fact, he calls his AI something. He's got a name for it. I can't remember what it is. Okay, so what we have done for you, if you haven't already got it, because we have emailed this out to everybody, is if you go to ajmastermind.co.uk/AI AI-prompt-1, you'll see they're the first of 5 prompts. This is 5 essential AI prompts you need in your agency. And that's a really good way of getting these prompts starting to get into use in your agency. So rather than me trying to give you them all here, if you just go to that link, AI-prompt-1, you'll be able to then click to prompt 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all videos and a prompt sheet to go with it as well. You can even share that with your team because they're very short videos, and it's very very relevant right now. So speaking of team, how your team members can use AI, and as you can see, we've got Phil's shoes there on the left hand side. Nice old Converses. 5 ways your team can start with AI. So number 1 is to draft initial responses to common inquiries. So I'm sure you have inquiries that you've got a bit of a copy and paste response to. AI can do that for you and can speak to the things in that email so that you can personalize it a little bit. So you need to really work on this prompt and try it on a couple of emails. And then you've either got something you can copy and paste, or if you want to start getting fancy with plugins and things like Zapier, that can actually do the work for you. Create social media content for listings. That's a pretty simple one, really, because once you've got your 500 words from a property description, if you said make a series of 6 social media posts with this, it'll just do that. You can either say with hashtags, without hashtags, with a CTA, without a CTA, and it'll just do it for you super easy.
Yeah.
And I think for listings, it doesn't have to be quite as personalized as it does for your general posting. Extract property details from viewing notes. So you could start off with your viewing notes and turn it into property details, or vice versa. You could ask ChatGPT to look at your property details, make revisions to them, enhance them, and then ask it to make viewing notes from them, or to summarize, or to create a training from it. There's so many things you can do, isn't there? Create a little quiz from it. Create property descriptions of different lengths for different platforms, as we've just talked about, and create viewing itineraries with timings for travel. So if you've got a complicated day of appointments, put it into ChatGPT or Perplexity and ask it to come up with your itinerary for the day, where you can stop for lunch, where you can get petrol, all those kind of things. Right, travel, I've done more than 5. Right, travel directions for brochures and Rightmove. So we're just experimenting with this at the moment because the girls really don't like writing the descriptions. The directions. Yeah, they're quite hard to do, aren't they?
Yeah, they can be.
And it depends on which direction they're coming from. It's just you have to get your head around it a bit.
Was making sure at the moment that Perplexity, I think they're using it, will give the quickest and best route, rather than either hallucinating or coming up with some random trek through an estate,
ford, or across the lake,
across the swim.
And create brochure templates, which it can pretty easily do, actually. And you can see that Canva can do that very easily right now. So this is an important bit, I think, of this training: how to get your website found by AI. And this is, I think, the game changer for businesses. I think a lot of AI is about making your life easier. We've also got to think about how you can use it to leverage your business profile and exposure to get new customers, basically.
Yeah. So early days SEO, which I think when that would have been maybe the mid noughties.
Yeah, probably early noughties, I would say.
Do you think when Google Ads became the real big thing, and people made millions through their business using pay-per-click Google Ads, because no one knew how to do it, and using SEO and getting there was lots of ways to game SEO to make sure that your website was always the first thing people clicked on, and therefore people made a lot of money. And now it's a lot more difficult, and most people understand SEO, and therefore it's harder to game. The AI system will firstly wipe out most of the old SEO methods, but will also probably give a window where you can game how AI finds your website, or how AI thinks about a certain industry or thinks about a certain company. And if you do it correctly, we believe it will give you an opportunity to be number one on AI when a question is asked. So, for example, if someone asks a question, say, so don't you think I was going to say the last question, say, we live at this house, who do you think is the best agent for us to use? I'm not even sure they'll ask such an intelligent question. I think most people will probably ask, who's the best agent in town?
And maybe why?
Yeah, and this is an opportunity to begin that learning of the AI, to mention your agency, number one, and give reasons why.
Mhm. No, exactly right. Like Phil says, I think, there was quite a few years where you could game Google, and there was a lot of, black hat stuff around Google to get random awful websites to be on the first page. And now Google stamps it out. It's taken them nearly 20 years to stamp it out, but they have stamped it out. And now you know that when you see something on the first page, it's probably a good website with a good ranking, good provenance. It's got good information in it. You're not going to see a spam website, which you would have done originally.
And with all the links on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And dodgy pop-ups and probably nicking all your data out of your Mac. But the same is going to be true of AI. For the first few years, you're probably going to be able to game it. You're probably going to be able to give it enough information for you to be the answer, and to make sure that you can manipulate the data that people are seeing. But that won't always be the case in the future. The big brands and the sort of AI police, however that happens, stop it happening.
It'll probably go down the paid ads route, won't it?
I think it probably
at
will.
Some point.
Yes, exactly. Sam says, what about using AI tools that are designed for estate agents? I would have thought they were better using things like ChatGPT because they can access your data as well, unlike ChatGPT. Yeah, do you have anything specific, Sam, about that? I would agree with you. What we're talking about here is general tools that are super cheap or free that you can start that AI learning journey. I think the challenge I would have, and I don't know any specific AI tools, we haven't checked them out for estate agents, is that they will be very limited. I think that at the moment I would stay wide, and I would just make sure you're exploring all options so that you understand how AI can leverage your business before you start going niche into something like that. I think it's just too new. It's too...
And it depends what you're using it for. There are and will be more CRMs that are trying to plug AI in to fill some of the gaps that we've discussed, to make it a little bit more seamless. But right now, they're never going to be as good as the ones we've listed. In the future, they definitely will be.
Well, look how well funded they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got billions, literally billions being spent. I mean, Microsoft owns ChatGPT. You've got, the biggest companies in the whole world are funding these AIs. They're going to be faster than anybody else's AI. So I would not limit yourself at this stage. I would use the wider AIs, unless there's some specific reason you wanted to use an agency one.